Yamile, welcome to the Unstoppables live show. How are you?
I'm doing phenomenal.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, look, this is a very special edition of the Unstoppables live show. And I'm going to introduce you guys a little bit. If it's just the first time that you're watching that, I interview influencers, people who are making an impact in the world, in the Unstoppables live show, and I do it every week. It's being streamed in YouTube, in LinkedIn, and also on Facebook, only in the Unstoppables group. And one of the things that it hit me talking to Yamile these days is like how much I'm always, we got Crystal here. Thanks for watching, Crystal. We learn through stories, we learn through examples, we learn through things that we already know. And I always make the same. I always do it in our private client calls, group calls, where I make a lot of comparisons between running a business or enrolling clients and flirting or having a relationship. And it's something that it's the same thing because the principles are the same. And I couldn't find anyone better than Yamile to come here and help me drive this point home. And the first thing that I was going to ask you, because I introduced this live show, I presented it talking about how we always believe that things can be related to business or pleasure. So we see these two things as two completely different things. And I want to talk about relationships because relationships can also be pain and pleasure. So Yamile, that's my brief introduction to today's show. And just now, if you don't mind, let us know who is Yamile.
So Yamile is an energetic, passionate soul that is excited about telling myself, it started with myself, that ordinary people can create extraordinary orgasmic results in life and in love. And so what that means, and I get to work with my partner, my husband, I call him the yang. I get to work with someone that is honestly totally opposite me, but it is teaching us so much in love, life, and in business. So that's who I am.
Beautiful, beautiful, Yamile. And I want to share something. You are Latina.
I am. Yes, I am Latina. My parents are from Colombia, and I was born in New Jersey, but I am now in North Carolina. So if anybody knows the South, I am the South. So I am a born-again Latina in the South.
Awesome. Well, just for everyone in this watching that doesn't know what Colombians are like, until you've met a Colombian, you don't know what passion is. Like, honestly, I had one Colombian girlfriend many years ago. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I don't even want to think about her. But anyway, so Yamile, tell me, you're a relationships coach. You're a kick-ass relationships coach. Is that today business or pleasure for you?
I would say it is all of the above. The pleasure, the pain, the business, everything.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah. You help me drive the point home now, because what I wanted to share is that it is possible to have a business that it's pleasurable. It is possible that you have a life where you combine both together. And you're gonna tell me later on if it is possible to have a relationship where there is also pain and pleasure. Let's put it like that.
Yeah.
So look, Yamile, I divided this interview in 3 steps, right? I mean, I see a lot of entrepreneurs starting businesses, failing, giving up, not following through because they realize that this is not what they wanted to do. This is not what they thought it was going to happen. And I find that the same things happen in relationships. I mean, it's not a secret. I'm single, and I'm single because I haven't figured out the women's code or the relationships code. So I'm dividing like the businesses and the relationships in three different phases, okay? And you correct me if I'm wrong. So the first phase would be the beginnings, right? When you start running your own business, start making some money, you're super excited. You would do anything for this business because it's your creation, it's beautiful. And then when you start a relationship with someone, something very similar happens. Everything is beautiful, you falling in love. And tell me a little bit, what happens when you meet someone new?
So I love the first step that you're talking about in business. We go in passionate. We want to burn the boats. Have you heard that, Carlos? Everybody says, I'm going to fucking burn the boats. I'm quitting my job. Screw you, everybody. I'm going to start my own thing, right? And
Yeah.
so we call that in relationship world the fairy tale. So in fairy tales, what happens is you're filled up with so much passion and desire, and you're like, my prince is out there. He's out there and he's gonna take care of me, and I'm gonna be the sexy woman for him, and all this euphoria happens. But we forget that our partner farts. We forget that our partner is human. We forget that life happens. And so if we can remember at the beginning of this honeymoon that there is always two sides. There's the fairy tale that like, I'm going to burn the boats and start my business, start my relationship. I love you and it's all you. But then what happens is, and I think you're going to talk about the next step, you're like, what the hell? And so, yes.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, that's true. Look, when we start a business, right? We are all that's a part of that. It's because we are sold into the idea, and I'm gonna use the same example with love. That running a business, being an entrepreneur, it's all fun and flying in first class and making lots of money and a lot of freedom. And we don't realize, well, that social media is selling that to people because this is what people choose to see. Movies and social media as well are selling people that all these beautiful relationships, because people only post about the good things. They don't say I'm sick of my husband because he's a pain in the ass. No, they put like the beautiful photos when they go out on a date, right? Yeah. So we believe that running a business or having a relationship is going to be like the best thing after sliced bread, and it can be, but you need to be aware that after you go through the first phase, which is like the falling in love with your business or with your partner phase, then you start seeing things right. And what happens with what I call the settling phase is that, oh man, I was working in corporate and at 5 p.m. I didn't have to think about work anymore. And now I go to bed thinking about work and I wake up thinking about work. So, and you see your partner, that's farting, right? Your partner is like, it's not the blueprints that you thought he was. And so, okay, so now we got like these two phases. It's the first one is easy because you don't need to put in any effort, everything flows. But what happens when you get to this phase? That if you don't have a solid foundation at the beginning and you don't have a why or something that a reason why you're doing what you're doing, you're gonna fall.
Yeah.
You're gonna stop it because it's not gonna be sustainable. What happens with the relationships? And I'm very interested because I never got that far in any relationship.
So let's just be honest, Carlos. You obviously you run, you work out, right? You do something to keep your body healthy. Yes or no?
Absolutely.
Yes. And when you're doing some runs or you're sweating, is it all really good looking? Is it all sexy? Is it beautiful? Or do you do it because the after effect, the price that you put into being able to run or lift weights, you're like, damn, I look hot or I look good. Yes or no?
Absolutely.
Yes. In a relationship, it's the same thing. When your husband or your spouse or your significant other or whoever it is does something that's painful, what you do in a relationship is you push in. You push in and you at that moment have the power to do another rep, to ask another question, to see what is it that I'm missing. And I say all that as my husband brought me a hot cup of coffee that says, I'm the real boss, B. I mean, it's not that I had to train him or anything like that. What ends up happening in the pain is the pain becomes your promise. The pain becomes your pleasure. So when you lift weights or you go running and stuff like that, you're not thinking of like, shit, this hurts. What you're thinking of is the benefits, or what you just said, the why. The why in
Totally.
the business. Why do I want to stay with my husband? I didn't tell you, Carlos, that my husband is my third baby daddy, the second husband in my life. I've been around the block maybe too many damn times. And a lot of it had to do with running from the pain, not wanting to be in that pain, not wanting to be in that abuse in my former marriages. So when I look now in the pain that I have now, I'm like, what is it that I really want? Why am I with him? Why do I accept when he gets frustrated? And I realize it is for me to grow. It is for my muscle, my heart muscle to grow so that I can
Mm,
serve myself, my children, and my clients better.
absolutely. Absolutely. That's a great point. Yeah. Look, this is what, going back to the business, like what happens with people is that we get carried away by, this hype of making some money, getting some clients on board, making this impact finally that you wanted to make. But then when you start seeing the things that you don't like that much, like working, I don't know, like 16 hours a day, or working like on a Sunday or a fucking Christmas day, and you start, unless you have a why, and you can see clearly the outcome and why you're doing that, where is this way leading you? So putting up with this stuff, is it going to be worth? Because why? Because you want to have your husband, you love him, you want to build a family, you want to have kids. And what is the benefit for you? Because that's what we ask constantly in our heads: is what is in there for me? What is in there for me? What is in there for me? So in your business, this is why I'm always stressing a lot at the beginning to say, you need to understand, you need to write your value, your mission statement. You need to understand why this is important, why, and you need a big reason, because sometimes when you've been working for a whole week, like 15, 16 hours a day, you don't feel like working anymore unless you love what you do and you have a big reason to keep pushing. Because let's be honest, I don't know as much as relationships as I know about business, but I wouldn't be able to keep going with my business if I didn't have like a massive reason, big reason for me to do whatever it takes to get what I want, where I want to get. Because who wants that, right? You
Right.
need to put in work, you need to put in effort, and I'm guessing that that's the same that happens with relationships.
I'm glad you said that because it does. So it's funny, like as a woman, right? We're working, we're feeding the babies, we're doing life, and our mind is going 100 miles an hour. Like as an entrepreneur, it's already going 100 miles an hour. But as a woman, you just tripled and quadrupled that. And so I've been so busy. Like I've done everything. I've fed the babies, I've fed the family, I'm working on my business, and now I have to have sex with you. Now you want to connect with me. Now I've got to do all this. But the why, the mission, the what else does it mean for me to lay with my husband or to go out and start dating again? Because we don't just work with people who are in relationships. We work with people that are searching for a relationship. And what we do is clear. Clarity is the reason why we're out there. Why do I have to go to a bar when I don't really even like drinking? Where are we searching? Where are we fishing for love? Where are we, if we love personal development, then why are we not going into those groups and talking to those people? The same thing with business. If I'm talking about love and I'm going into a group that it's women hating men, what the frick? I'm gonna
Exactly.
I'm going to get
Exactly.
poisoned. And so it's just being able to know the why and asking even more questions like, okay, I'm tired and my husband wants to have sexy time, or I really need to go and swipe left or swipe right so that in the morning I can have some messages. Wherever we're at, what is the why? if we have an intention going into the why with our relationship that I'm like, it's a job, I gotta do this for this, then I'm sure in business you're gonna get screwed too. It's not gonna come to the outcome that you want. And so for me, like when I have my groups and I'm talking to the women and they're like, but I'm so tired. I'm like, I understand we're tired, but what is it that you want out of your relationship? Why are you with your partner? And what is it you expect? And so being able to know what that is.
That's gold. That's gold. By the way, we got Crystal saying, "Oh my God, that's so true. The overwhelm for women can be outrageous and heartbreaking." Yeah, totally. Look, that's interesting, and I'm learning a lot of stuff because I never thought about to that point. Like, why am I successful in business and why I'm not successful in relationships? And because I know it well in business, but I don't implement the same shit on relationships. But it's so true. You need the reason to push forward. You need the reason to put up with some stuff that you might not be super happy with about your business, about the way you carry out things, about your husband or your wife, because I guess that the same problems we have men. So good. Look, the last step that I'm putting here, and of course there's not only 3 steps, but I would say these are the 3 pillars, or the 3 critical points of any relationship and any business. It would be what is my favorite part, which is scaling up the business. And now there's a whole new game. It's a whole new story here. And what I'm seeing here is, well, you get to the point into a relationship that you're like, okay, so now we got everything we were looking for. So now what's next? What's the next step? Because you need to grow. Things that don't grow, it's because they're dead, right? So what I would say is, like, when it comes to business, you need to really understand what is where you want to go, how does it look like, and then come up with everything you need to get there. And that means, like, stop doing the things that you don't like doing and getting someone to do it for you, hiring teams, and all this sort of stuff. But I would like to know, how is it look like for someone who's in a relationship and is like, you know what, it's time to take this to the next level. We need to get married. We need to have kids. We need to. I guess that's the next level. And 1 second, let me read Crystal saying, would you say it all comes down to commitment in relationships and in business? Well, I would say that, fuck yes. If you're committed to get a result, if you're committed to make something work, you will find a way to make it work. So
I love that she talked about commitment, because it's bigger than commitment to see the plan work. It's committed to yourself. Like when people try to lose weight, right? It's not because I want to be skinny because I think you want me to be skinny. It's because I want to lose weight to be strong for me, because I want to do it. So the commitment is very powerful, but it's also realizing that the commitment is for me. Like, so if I'm in a relationship with a man and he's not solely committed, it's because he's not even committed for himself. Look at the other relationships around. He might be a bad boy with his mama. He might be terrible with his exes. He might, so the commitment, if you're not committed, it's because you're not even committed to your own damn self. And the question is, you know yourself, which is perfect for business too, because if you quit because you're not like getting a drive-through value in your business, right? Like, hey, I want it now. And if you're doing just all that, then it's not going to give you the growth, the love, the muscle that, let's see your muscle, like the muscle that you have when you go out to work out. So yes, commitment is powerful, but it's commitment first for you.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, that's a good point. You made me think here. One of the things that I see is that, yes, people are not committed, and this is one of the reasons business and relationships fail. Now, I would go back 1 step, and it's, why aren't you committed? Well, because you don't want it bad enough, or you don't have a big enough why. Because if they tell you, I always use the same example when people say, "Oh, my clients don't have, well, my prospects never have money." I'll say, "Well, do you think that if you ask them that they need to come up with $10,000 or their family will die, would you think that anyone would say, I don't have money? No, they would find the money because they see the value. So what is your why? Because if you find a why that's big enough, you'll do whatever it takes to build this relationship or to push forward with your business. But if your why is wishy-washy and it's not strong enough and you don't really want it badly enough, you're not going to be committed. You're not going to be consistent. You're not going to put the work. You're not going to put in the patience and trying to talk with your spouse, right?
Right. I would add one more thing. If it's not working, do you even know who you are? Are you wanting that business, that hype, that relationship? Are you wanting it because your conscious wants it? Or are you wanting it because it's truly coming from a place of creativity? And that's where we talk about energy and that place that empowers you and gives you answers that you don't even know where it came from. And so if we don't know, if we don't truly know ourselves, and you can find this in the Tao, you can find this in the Bible, is to know thyself is the power. And so if I'm saying that I want a sexy husband who is always there serving me and it's all about me, fuck, we're in trouble because I don't know myself. I don't know what my soul's purpose really is. And we go through that being clear. What the hell do you really want? You know, are you just eating the sandwich or the salad? Have you ever seen those dating and the woman asks for a salad and the man has the steak? I'm like, fuck that shit. I want a steak and potato. You know?
Of course.
Knowing yourself and unapologetically being yourself in your relationship and in your business is going to be what grows you.
Yeah. You just said something that hit me. And it reminded me to something that Tony Robbins says in some of his, both in relationships programs that I've gone through and also in business. And it is, he says something that's very powerful. You go into a relationship to give. You go into a relationship to give, to help. And that's so powerful because if you go to give, to meet your partner's needs, and they go into the relationship to meet their partner's needs, both of you, you're going to go to support each other, to add value to one another. And this is the same in business. And sorry to make a little pause here for a second, but one of the reasons most people struggle in business is because they go into business to take. They don't go into business to give and support people. They go into business to see, okay, what's in there for me? What's in this business for me? What's in this relationship for me? And now what you start doing is like you take it personal and get angry every time that your business or your relationship is not giving you what you're expecting. Yes. But when you go there, how can I serve? How can I give? How can I add? Well, you're not gonna get pissed off when you're not selling. You're not gonna get angry when your spouse is not giving you a cup of coffee in the morning, because you're gonna go there to give them a cup of coffee. So yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting.
That's powerful because that is it. And we are the only animal kind, right, that decides that as a woman and a man, we're the same. Okay, that oh no, you need to do this for me. But when I do that, right, when I say and impose my ideas of how a man should be, when I'm a feminine, I'm not giving, I'm fucking taking. I'm like, you're not even no more foreplay. You're like, I'm telling you, Carlos, you need to act this way and this way and this way. Every other type of animal does that. And it's funny, my husband is watching too. And he sent me, before you said that, he said, those who go into a relationship to get, and they wonder why there are problems, because they go in to get and not to give.
Totally.
And that is where it is. And so in this human race, as a woman and as beautifully empowered women, we want to say, well, why do I even need a man? I make my own money. I'm the CEO of my company. I make my own babies. We can freeze eggs and make our own babies. Why do we need a man? And it's not about needing. It's about wanting. It's about sharing. It's about this dance, right? Because if you've ever, Carlos, do you dance tango? Are you a tango dancer?
I dance very badly.
Me too. But the whole thought that I have when I look at somebody who's dancing tango is I'm giving, right? I'm giving of myself. I'm unleashing myself to the partner to take me, to lead me, to guide me. Because the minute I say, no, fuck it, I'm doing it, the dance looks like what I probably dance like now.
Forced.
And yes, forced. And it's funny because this is why I actually love you as a business coach, because you've made me realize that. Because even though I'm so energetic and passionate, I was stomping all over my partner and my clients' feet. I was expecting to get results without giving fully of myself.
Yeah.
And that is why I believe and I know that if you want a beautiful partnership in a relationship, you need to understand the dynamics of just all this ebb and flow in a relationship with your business.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, it's so important. People don't realize how this little shift can change your life, your relationships, I'm guessing, and your business. And it's just having a mindset of abundance and having a mindset of, okay, how can I help? Instead of what am I gonna get today? So yeah, look, I'll say it once again. If you want to see results, and I say it all the time, if you want to see results in a business, if you want to sell more, you need to stop selling. You need to stop asking for more. You need to start asking yourself, how can I help my clients today? How can I give back to the community? How can I support my audience? And forget about the results, because I promise, if you're able to do that, the results will come.
Yes.
And maybe I should start applying this in relationships as well. So, because do as I say, but not as I do, right?
Carlos, it's funny you say that because, you know, working with you and being able to serve my clients better, initially it was because I'm like, wait, I want a $10,000 month, right? My focus was the $10,000 month.
Mm-hmm.
My focus wasn't the why the $10,000 were going to make a bigger impact for my clients, myself, my family, and the next generation. And so when you help me identify that little shift as to why, like, oh, I need money, or whatever, when you tweak it into like, wait a minute, if I'm doing what my soul's purpose is to help people find orgasmic relationships, then everything else is going to fall in place. I know that sounds like earthy crunchy, Carlos, but it really does. The heavens, and I told you before we got on, the heavens open up, like, or the universe opened up and it offered me a different direction. And if I'm willing to play with the universe, with this dance, it's like, what else is out there? What other possibilities? What other G spots do we have? So it's just been really exciting experimenting with what else can be out there.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. And I would like to invite everyone watching, like business and relationships, feel free to experiment, because, well, you know, there's some limits, of course, but it's not, life is not something fixed. Life is not something rigid that it cannot be fixed, it cannot be amended. You are allowed to make mistakes. You are allowed to fuck up. You are allowed to do everything as long as you're aware of what you've done and you adjust your approach moving forward. And actually, in business, what I say is you need to make mistakes, and you want to make them big and fast, because the sooner you make them and the bigger they are, the bigger the lesson, and the sooner you will be wise and learn and have this lesson down. So it's not going to happen in the future unless you're not learning. But I'm assuming that you make a mistake and you learn from it. So relationships, one of the things that happened to me with relationships is that every time that I made a little mistake, I beat myself up to the point that it's not enjoyable, and then I fucking give up. So maybe you can help me out with the relationships when we finish, Yamile.
I love it. Well, one of the words, and you talk about this, a small shift. One of the words is failure. Failure, we actually say feedback. So in my post, I've been talking about the feedback, the failure that I thought was failure is actually feedback, like a computer saying, no, that's not the right thing. Let's tweak it. Let's change it. So the feedback you've gotten before from another woman, from your relationships, is just like, okay, let's go on to the next one and enjoy and open up my heart.
Totally. Awesome, Yamile. Look, we've gone over the 30 minutes mark. So I know that you have something for the community. Would you like to let them know?
Yes, everybody. We have 3 secrets to having an orgasmic relationship, and it's sex, and not sex only horizontally, but sex like Carlos and I right now, just being able to engage in conversation and grow together. So if you want that free ebook, let me know. I mean, I'm actually going to put it in the comments below so you can have it, read about it.
Awesome. I'll put it in the description of the video so you guys can download it and have a read. And you know, guys, if you're part of the Unstoppables, or if you're watching this on YouTube or on LinkedIn and you want to participate in one of these interviews, let us know in the comments, shoot us a message, join the Unstoppables group, and let's book it in. And that's all for today, guys. You have an amazing Christmas time, and get ready because 2021 it's gonna be the year.
Absolutely.
All right. So Yamile, thanks a lot for being here, and keep up this fantastic energy that you bring to the world, and I'll see you in the group.
Yes. Thank you so much, Carlos. Take care.
Bye.